Let's talk frozen food, the kind you trust, heat up in minutes, and maybe even rely on daily. But what if I told you that behind the convenience, there's a darker truth thawing out? Thousands of boxes from well-known brands like Stouffer's and Lean Cuisine are being yanked from grocery shelves for health hazards. But that's just the tip of the iceberg. The real danger? It's already in your freezer. See, frozen meals used to be the ultimate shortcut. Quick, simple, no questions asked. Especially for seniors, they offered a sense of security. But behind the shiny packaging and feel-good branding are meals that may be quietly sabotaging your health, one bite at a time. Let's start with the basics, nutrition, or rather, the lack of it. Tear open that meal tray, and what do you get? A small, overly salted portion with ingredients you can't pronounce, and nutrients that barely move the needle. It's not a mistake. It's by design. Manufacturers cut corners to save money and extend shelf life. That means they lean hard on salt, sugar, and chemical stabilizers instead of real, fresh ingredients. One retired nurse discovered her frozen chicken dinner had 900 milliliters of sodium. That's nearly half the recommended daily amount for just one meal. Seniors managing blood pressure or kidney issues? This is sabotage wrapped in cellophane. And if you've noticed those meals getting smaller, you're not imagining things. Portion sizes have quietly shrunk. What used to fill a plate now barely qualifies as a snack. Many seniors are doubling up just to feel satisfied, unknowingly doubling their intake of salt, fat, and preservatives. Even the labels lie. Those little heart symbols and healthy claims, often based on outdated metrics or internal company standards, not any real nutritional science. One former food consultant admitted that so-called senior-friendly meals are engineered for shelf life and flavor, not for health. And it doesn't stop there. Let's talk breaded meats. Chicken tenders, fish sticks, pork cutlets. They look familiar, taste familiar. But inside, that golden crust hides something much murkier. Today's frozen breaded meats can be as little as 50% actual meat. The rest, starches, fillers, and meat paste. You think you're eating chicken breast, but unless you see whole muscle on the label, odds are you're getting restructured mystery meat. And that crispy coating? Usually flash fried before freezing. So even if you bake it at home, it's already soaked in industrial oils. One retiree described pulling baked fish fillets from her oven only to find the tray coated in grease. Healthy? Not even close. Flash frying, preservatives, texture enhancers. It's all part of the formula. The result is a product designed to trick your tongue while bypassing your body's needs. And for seniors with sensitive stomachs or dental issues, this artificial texture can be even harder to tolerate. Now imagine that same illusion applied to breakfast. Frozen waffles, pancakes, breakfast sandwiches. They seem harmless, nostalgic even. But for older adults, they can unleash a blood sugar roller coaster. That lightly sweetened French toast stick? It might contain more sugar than a candy bar. One retired teacher said she felt dizzy every morning until her doctor traced it back to her breakfast routine. Those very same frozen French toast sticks. The packaging sold warmth and simplicity. The ingredients told a different story. Additives, syrups, refined flour. It's a recipe for a spike and crash scenario. And the worst part? Some breakfast sandwiches cut costs by reducing egg content, swapping in imitation cheese, and loading up on salt to mask the difference. You thought you were fueling up for the day. Instead, you're setting yourself up for a mid-morning crash, cravings, and fatigue. Now let's crack open something else you probably trust, frozen vegetables. It used to be simple. A bag of broccoli or green beans ready to steam. No mess, no fuss. But even this corner of the freezer aisle has changed. Many frozen veggies are now pre-seasoned, pre-sauced, or pre-steamed, packaged to look more convenient, but bloated with hidden ingredients. One retired dietitian was stunned to find her garlic herb green beans included 9 separate ingredients, everything from butter flavoring to anti-caking agents. That's not seasoning. That's a chemistry set. Some brands intentionally overcook vegetables before freezing to soften the texture. Why? So you think you're getting something rich and indulgent, not realizing the original produce was likely low-grade to begin with. And those steamable bags labeled lightly seasoned, often packed with 300 milligaules of sodium per half cup. That's a stealthy way to derail a renal diet or increase fluid retention without ever touching the salt shaker. Even frozen fruit isn't safe. You'd think a berry blend would be the safest thing in the freezer, but labels like burst of flavor or energy blend are code for added sugars, syrups, and juice concentrates. One retired teacher discovered her antioxidant-rich fruit blend was sweetened with grape juice concentrate. No mention of it on the front label. Food marketers know people associate fruit with health, so they use that trust to sneak in sugar-laden enhancements that spike your blood sugar and keep you coming back for more. Some fruit is even pre-soaked in stabilizers to maintain color and texture during freezing. Sounds harmless, until it starts messing with your digestion or energy levels. And here's the twist. This is often the food we trust the most. If you're starting to wonder what else might be hiding behind familiar packaging, keep watching, because the deeper we go into the freezer, the more unsettling it gets. Let's open the freezer door a little wider, because right behind that innocent bag of veggies or fruit lies something even more deceptive: the frozen pizza. Frozen pizza used to be a guilty pleasure. Now, it's a nutritional time bomb. One single serving pie, something you can easily down in one sitting, can pack over 1,000 milligrams of sodium. That's nearly half the daily recommended amount for someone over 60. And that's if you stop at one serving, which most people don't. Why so salty? Manufacturers jack up the sodium to preserve taste after months in deep freeze. And the flavor? It's not coming from fresh ingredients. We're talking imitation cheeses, chemically processed meats, and crusts made with added sugars and industrial oils. A retired factory worker told us he felt bloated and dizzy after eating just half a frozen pizza. Turned out he'd unknowingly consumed 2 grams of salt and a cocktail of chemical preservatives, all disguised by tomato sauce and melty cheese. And don't be fooled by how soft that crust feels. It's not fresh, it's engineered. Scientists use emulsifiers and sweeteners to fake the texture of hand-tossed dough. Same for the sauce, which is often more sugar than tomato, designed to distract you from the processed toppings above it. That little frozen pizza isn't just a treat, it's a stealth assault on your blood pressure, kidneys, and waistline. And the worst part? It leaves you wanting more. But here's something you probably didn't expect. Even frozen vegetables, yes, vegetables, are starting to play the same game. Once a healthy shortcut, now they're often laced with added salt, sugar, artificial flavoring, and cheap butter substitutes. What used to be simple, green beans, carrots, peas, is now a science experiment dressed as dinner. And if that feels like a bait and switch, just wait until you hear what's happening to frozen fruit. Those colorful smoothie blends in glossy bags, they often contain enhancers like grape juice concentrate or syrup, sweeteners that don't show up on the front of the package. They use vague terms like flavor boost or energy mix to hide added sugars and starches that spike blood sugar and upset digestion. Even when a label says unsweetened, it can still include stabilizers or be processed in ways that make fruit more digestible but also more glycemic. So what looks like a healthy start to your day could actually be sending your insulin levels on a roller coaster. This is how the freezer aisle tricks you, one bite, one label, one short cut at a time. And it doesn't stop there. Frozen pot pies, warm, comforting, nostalgic, but peel back that golden crust and you'll find something far heavier than you bargained for. One popular chicken pot pie clocks in at over 1,000 calories and 40 grams of fat, half the daily intake for many older adults in just one meal. The meat? often chopped, pressed, and restructured to mimic whole cuts. The gravy? Thickened with hydrogenated oils and mystery starches, carrots and peas. Mostly filler, what you're really eating is a slurry of fat, salt, and processed meat sealed inside a flaky disguise. One retired woman told us her go-to pot pie used to be hearty and satisfying, but lately it's gotten greasier and oddly salty. That's not her memory failing, it's reformulation. Brands tweak recipes over time to cut costs while keeping that comforting look intact. You feel like you're eating a homemade classic, but what your body's processing is a factory experiment in flavor masking and ingredient stretching. And that warm, flaky crust, it's hiding a long-term risk to your heart, your kidneys, and your metabolism. And then there are the frozen appetizers, the party food for one. Mini quiches, potato skins, mozzarella sticks. They look harmless, even fun. But these snacks are usually deep-fried in seed oils like canola and soybean before they ever hit the store. And even when you bake them at home, you're just reheating oils that have already oxidized, oils that trigger inflammation in joints, tissues, and organs. One retiree started noticing swelling in his hands and digestive issues after switching to frozen snacks. He never made the connection until a nutritionist pointed out how heavily processed oils can impact older bodies already battling inflammation. The problem? These bites are small, which makes it easy to eat 5, 6, 10 at a time. Suddenly, you've ingested a full meal's worth of toxic oils, sodium, and preservatives, all in the name of convenience. And still, there's one more culprit lurking behind a warm smile and a tray of sauce-covered nostalgia. Frozen pasta meals, lasagna, Alfredo, spaghetti with meatballs. These dishes conjure memories of family dinners and Sunday nights. But the frozen versions are a different beast entirely. One retired chef told us he felt tired and bloated after eating a frozen lasagna he used to love. Turns out it had more than 70 grams of carbs and barely 10 grams of protein. That kind of imbalance sends your blood sugar soaring, then crashing, leaving you drained and hungry all over again. Manufacturers pump up the pasta and sauce to bulk up the weight without using expensive protein or vegetables. The cheese? Often a mix of dairy powder, oils, and artificial flavoring. Even the tomato sauce might be dyed to look rich and thick when it's actually watered down and re-thickened with gums and starches. It tastes like comfort, but it's nutritionally hollow. Worse still, it's designed that way. Former food developers admit these meals are built for craveability, not nourishment. They want you to come back for more, not because it's good for you, but because your body feels empty afterward. And that brings us to the final layer of this frozen truth. If this is hitting a little too close to home, you're not alone. Let us know your experience in the comments. Quietly tap that like button if you've seen the signs. And stay with us, because what we reveal next might make you rethink everything about your freezer. Think your frozen food choices are safe if you just stick to healthier options? Let's talk about the silent saboteur in many senior diets. Those so-called lean or smart meals that wear health halos but hide a storm of metabolic disruptors. Remember that lean cuisine tray with the picture-perfect chicken and steamed veggies? It might look light, but under the surface, it's another lab experiment. Many of these meals are loaded with high glycemic starches, isolated soy protein, and artificial flavorings to simulate taste without real substance. Sure, they meet calorie counts, but they're often dangerously unbalanced. Too little fat to support brain health, too few real proteins to maintain muscle mass, and just enough salt to keep you coming back for more. Food insiders have revealed that these meals are optimized for mouthfeel and marketability, not actual health. The goal? Keep the meals under a calorie cap, slap on a health-focused label, and let the branding do the heavy lifting. One insider even admitted, They're designed to look healthy on paper, not to be healthy in practice. Now imagine the senior on a fixed income trying to eat well, filling their cart with healthy frozen meals. They think they're making the right choice, but meal after meal, their blood pressure creeps up, their energy dips, and no one connects the dots because the food wore a disguise. It gets worse. Even vegetarian frozen meals aren't immune. Many plant-based frozen options rely on textured vegetable protein, hydrogenated oils, and synthetic flavors to simulate meat-like satisfaction. One former vegetarian said she was shocked to find her frozen plant-based burrito contained over 700 milligrams of sodium, a hefty chunk of saturated fat, and virtually no fiber. Frozen wellness meals? Often a masterclass in deceptive design. Words like harvest, green, and natural are marketing bait. Flip the box, and you'll find a dense wall of ingredients that reads more like a chemistry syllabus than a recipe. And this deception is intentional. Former marketing execs have shared that the frozen aisle isn't just about convenience, it's about nostalgia. These brands don't just sell food, they sell a feeling. Comfort, ease, childhood, family dinners. They know the emotional pull is strong, especially for seniors who remember home-cooked meals or grew up trusting certain brands. So the strategy is simple. Make the packaging warm, the names familiar, and the flavors craveable. Meanwhile, the inside becomes cheaper, saltier, and more synthetic every year. It's reformulation without revelation. And this isn't just a minor dietary misstep, it's a systemic health trap. Seniors dealing with high blood pressure, diabetes, or cognitive decline may be unknowingly accelerating their conditions with every frozen meal they trust. The consequences don't arrive like a lightning bolt. They creep in: fatigue, swelling, headaches, foggy thinking, until one day it's a full-blown crisis at the doctor's office. Because here's the truth most food companies don't want you to hear. Frozen meals weren't designed to keep you healthy. They were designed to keep you buying. That golden crust on the pot pie, that oozy mozzarella stick, that glossy berry blend, all engineered to hit emotional triggers, not nutritional benchmarks. And when we spoke with retired food scientists, several pointed to a chilling pattern. Many frozen products marketed to older adults are among the least nutritious options in the freezer. Why? Because seniors are seen as loyal customers, less likely to complain, less likely to check labels, and more likely to buy what's familiar. Let that sink in. You're not just a customer. You're a demographic target, a revenue stream, a nostalgia buyer. And the health promises made on the box, often crafted by marketers, not medical experts. So what do? Start by flipping the box. Look for protein, fiber, and real ingredients, not just low calories or feel-good words. Watch the sodium. Be skeptical of long shelf lives and ingredient lists that stretch into paragraphs. Better yet, reclaim the freezer. Stock it with frozen plain vegetables, unsweetened fruits, pre-cooked grains, and your own batch-cooked meals. Real food frozen with purpose, not preservatives. The freezer can still be your friend, but you need to see past the friendly branding and question what's been quietly normalized. Because here's the kicker. Every change in recipe, every shift in portion size, every bump in sodium, that all happened while we weren't looking. We trusted the freezer to help us, and little by little, it turned into a trap. If you've made it this far, you're already ahead of the game. You're not just consuming, you're questioning. You're not just eating, you're investigating. So before you peel back that plastic film tonight, ask yourself, is this meal really helping me? Or is it part of the problem? What's in your freezer might look safe, but the truth? It's been hiding in plain sight all along. Stick around, because what we reveal next could change how you shop forever. Let's finish strong, because the deeper you go into the frozen aisle, the more the patterns repeat. Flashy packaging, friendly promises, Hidden consequences. Take frozen entrees marketed as diabetic-friendly or low-carb. You'd think these would be safe havens, but many contain sugar alcohols, artificial sweeteners, or mysterious blends of refined starches labeled with names like maltodextrin or tapioca solids. Sounds harmless, right? Until you realize these additives can spike blood sugar, cause bloating, and throw your digestive system into chaos. One retired postal worker told us he trusted a low-carb frozen chicken bowl until his blood sugar mysteriously spiked. He'd followed the diet, watched his snacks, but that single tray had hidden sugars disguised by loophole labeling. And this isn't just about meals, frozen desserts. Another iceberg, those light ice creams, no sugar-added pies, and fruit-flavored frozen yogurts often swap out real ingredients for artificial thickeners, chemical stabilizers, and sweeteners that mess with your gut and metabolism. One small slice of frozen cheesecake might contain as many additives as a fast food burger. The packaging says guilt-free. Your body disagrees. Even dairy-free frozen desserts, touted as a healthy alternative, are often full of industrial oils, gums, and lab-created flavoring agents. What feels like a harmless treat can become a silent contributor to inflammation, fatigue, and dietary setbacks, especially in older adults with sensitive systems. And here's the final twist most people never see coming. The companies making these products, they're often the same ones behind processed snacks, sugary drinks, and fast food. The frozen aisle has become their most convincing disguise. They've learned to mimic health language, to design meals that feel clean, to present fake freshness through colors, textures, and emotional storytelling. The illusion is powerful. A steaming tray, a golden crust, a smiling family on the box. You feel cared for. But that feeling, it's manufactured. Because here's what they're not telling you. Food companies routinely test consumer response to packaging, not just flavor. They study how seniors respond to certain fonts, color palettes, even microwave instructions. One insider revealed that some brands have senior-friendly design teams that optimize trust through language and familiarity, while the actual food quality declines. It's strategic. It's manipulative. And most consumers never know it's happening. So what can you trust? Start by getting back to basics. Frozen plain vegetables and fruits, with nothing added, are still solid choices. So are pre-frozen lean proteins like unseasoned chicken or fish. Flash-frozen single-ingredient items tend to be more honest. But the real change comes from paying attention. Every box, every label, every bite. If a frozen food lists more than 10 ingredients, red flag. If salt is in the top 3 ingredients, think twice. If it tastes too good to be true, with almost no fat or calories, you're likely being played. And if something you've trusted for years suddenly tastes different, feels heavier, or doesn't fill you up like it used to, that's not just you. That's reformulation. Here's the thing. Seniors deserve better. They deserve transparency, nutrients, not nostalgia. Food that supports their bodies, not just fills their microwaves. And that starts with awareness. Because when you know what to look for, you reclaim power. You stop being a passive consumer. You stop being the target of clever marketing. And you start making choices that support your health, not slowly chip away at it. So let this be your turning point. Go back to your freezer. Pull out your favorite frozen meals. Flip those boxes. Read those labels. Count the sodium, the sugar, the fillers. And ask yourself, is this meal feeding me or fooling me? If this video opened your eyes, tell us what shocked you most in the comments. Hit that like button if you've got a freezer detox in your future. And subscribe because the next expose might be hiding right in your pantry. Remember, what's easy isn't always what's good. And what's convenient may be the most dangerous thing of all. Stay sharp, stay curious, and never settle for food that lies to you.